Hello and welcome to the channel. As always, please do get involved, like, subscribe, do all of that fun stuff. This is one today I'd really like you to get involved with because this is something that I get asked about a lot. Today we're going to discuss, should you ever pay for your music to be added to playlists on Spotify? Now for this video, I'm going to assume that you're an independent artist or a small record label maybe. And I'm going to approach this with a level of realism. Okay, we live in the real world. Money changes hands, things happen. But should you ever go down that road? The temptation is obviously out there, but is it something you should ever really indulge in? So I should start with a disclaimer here. Spotify will tell you, and this is true, that it is against their terms and conditions to ever pay a playlist curator to add your song to their playlists. And that is the case, but you know, they're well beyond policing that. They can't police it. They don't care about policing it. Equally, your distributor will probably tell you the same thing. But again, in the real world, it happens, right? It happens, okay? So to start with, also just to clarify our position on this and where we're coming from in this, we are, as one of the services that we provide for artists, is that we provide playlist promotion services. So we are quite at the coalface with this. We work with a lot of playlist curators. We come across a lot of fraudsters, and we also come across a lot of real playlist curators. We also run our own playlists, so we understand the economics of this and how this all works, right? So let's start with what's the problem here. So the problem at the core of this, it's that artists and musicians want listeners, they want fans, they want people to listen to their music, right? And what's the best way to do that? Usually, like, getting on Spotify playlists is the best way to do that. One of the best ways to do that, right? Drives more listeners, drives new fans. So artists, rightfully, go out there, they try and find these people who have these playlists. Often they're other record labels, sometimes they're festivals, sometimes they're other artists, sometimes it's just a random person who has a playlist on Spotify that has got lots of followers, right? So they go out there, they find these playlist curators, they're just on Spotify, they find an email address to contact this playlist, they find an Instagram handle, whatever, they find a way to get in contact with this playlist, right? Then they want to pitch their music to this playlist. So they reach out to the playlist creator, they say, I think you'll love this song, do you mind adding it to your playlist, right? And in a lovely world of roses and fairies and loveliness, these playlist creators would just say, yeah, we love this song, or, oh, it's not quite right for us, but please do keep in touch. But that's not the real world, okay? So what happens often at this point is that fraudsters, people who engage in streaming fraud and use bots and stuff like that, will use this as an opportunity to say, yes, you can be added to my popular gym playlist or my popular beach playlist or whatever, but it's going to cost you X amount of money, right? Then what these illegitimate fraudsters do is they then use a portion of that money to buy streams through bot farms or various other, there's lots of ways that you can do it that are like illegal or whatever. And then they pocket the rest, right? So they're making money on the perception of an artist getting streams for being added to that playlist, right? But what then happens is that song, the artist can then get their song taken down by Spotify because this is against their terms and conditions. The distributor can also take your music down and ban you. All of the responsibility then lies on the artist, right? Because Spotify can't tackle the fraudsters because they're criminals and they don't care, the artist is the one who gets punished for this. And that's at the core of what the problem is here, right? That's the problem, right? So that's obviously the road that you don't want to go down. That's a problem, right? But what if it's a playlist curator who is genuine? Let's say that this is a playlist curator who has built up a really successful sleep playlist or an ambient playlist or a house music playlist, whatever, right? They've curated it over a number of years. They've run adverts on this playlist, so it's cost them money to build this playlist. They've really looked after it. It's great, right? It's a great playlist. It exists within Spotify, right? I'm happy to go out on a limb and say most artists and labels wouldn't mind paying a little bit of money to that playlist curator because they're genuine. They've built this playlist over an amount of time. It's cost them money to manage it. That's just economics. That's just how the world works, right? And if you know you're getting a legitimate playlist spot, you're probably quite happy to pay them, 15 quid or whatever to be on that playlist, right? The issue is that the fraudsters more often than not win, right? There's more fraudsters out there than there is legitimate playlist creators who are doing the right thing, right? So Spotify's stance is just don't do it. Don't get involved, right? Because most artists will get it wrong most of the time, okay? So the question here is, how do you find genuine? How do you find that sort of 1 in 10 playlist creators, probably 1 in 100 playlist creators who are genuine, and you maybe don't mind paying a little bit of money to be added to their playlist, right? How do you find them? So two platforms that you should be using anyway, and I always recommend, are SubmitHub and Groover, because they vet all of their playlist creators on their platform. So if you go through those platforms, you've got a guarantee of correct playlist that you're pitching to. But if you've managed to get in touch with a playlist creator directly and they're asking you for money, there's some tools that you could use to check if they're doing things legitimately. The first tool is called artist.tools. I'll add links to this in the description of this video, but this is a completely free platform which you can paste a link to any playlist or any playlist creator into their system, and they will give you an indication of whether that playlist is legitimate or whether it uses bots or whether there's signs of streaming fraud. I won't go into the details of what streaming fraud looks like over time, but it's basically big dips in followers. It's inconsistencies in types of artists that are on that playlist. There's lots of different things. It doesn't matter. You don't need to know this. All you need to know is that this is a free tool that will give you an answer of this playlist creator looks good, you can probably work with them, you're probably safe, or this is bad, don't work with them, avoid like the plague, right? And these are tools that distributors use as well, but this is a really simple way to just say, right, this person wants money from me, let me check that they're actually legitimate, right? Another one is SubmitHub actually has a free playlist checker. So what you could do is you could actually put any playlist into SubmitHub's playlist checker. I'll also link to this in the description. And you could check for like streaming fraud or if this playlist has been reported in the past or anything like that, right? The final thing you could do is ask them for proof of advertising. Now, this might seem like weird, but if you actually think about it, if a playlist curator is asking you for money for a song to be added to their playlist, that's fine, okay, but we need to know that I'm paying for a legitimate playlist in that situation, right? Then just say to them, do you mind sharing with me some screenshots of the adverts that you're running on this? How have you built this audience? What would justify why I should be paying you? If, like I say, if they're running ads and they're doing everything legitimately and they've built this playlist through legitimate means, fine. Do you know what I mean? That's fine. I don't usually mind paying a bit of money towards the advertising, but if I'm going to pay you just to add a load of bot streams onto this song and then you pocket the rest of the money, then that's a no-no. So to summarize, right, some really free tools that you can use. Artist.tools, that's just the website. Type that in. It's free, but I would also recommend paying for the premium version if you're going to be doing this sort of thing a lot. SubmitHub playlist checker, that's completely free. And ask for proof of advertising. Ask for them to prove that they're doing things in a legitimate and correct way.